Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good Friday. And I'll start to play some music, and then maybe I can start explaining what it is that I'm doing today. Let's hello, Bal. Good to see you in here. Yeah, I'll set something up without showing it on screen, and maybe I'll give a little bit of insight of what I'm doing. Yeah, so let me mute this AI generated music, and we can start with some actual music. Hopefully you can hear this. Hopefully music is audible. Know if everything works in my wiring and all that. I'll play a few notes and see how that... see what's going to happen. Then I'll explain what it is that I'm doing, and it's kind of related. Please let me know in the chat if the audio is working that should, if volume is kind of okay. So Alex says this sounds good. All right, I'm gonna go back to hopefully a few sessions of playing here on the stream. Yeah, so let me get my camera set up, and I'll start to explain what I'm doing, or maybe I'll even show my screen a little bit before I'll show what I'm doing. So what I'm working on, and this is something that will hopefully be partially free, so this is going to be a fun one. I'm working on a VST host, so it's actually going to be probably both an app and a plugin, but I'm starting with just the plugin side. It's not designed yet, but it's just like something we put on screen. And it's an app that lets you load a few slots. Like for example, here I can load an instrument slot. That's like the main one. I loaded a piano, the ivory piano. Then you can load effects. Like I can load, I think my effects section might not work just now, but I should be able to, I can load like a fab filter insert. Right, so I can load my piano, and it's and I can load a MIDI plugin as well. Like I can load something like, let's hope this won't crash, but I should be able to load like something like Eon ARP, and then I should get an arpeggiator. I have no idea why that happens. Here you go. There's a little bug here. Should not happen, but generally you should be able to load like an instrument and load a load a few slots for effects, a few slots for MIDI arpeggiator, and kind of connect them in a nice way. And this would also work in a DAW, right? So it would also work as a, but it should also work as standalone. Like it should also be like this app where you just load a few plugins. There's going to be a few features there specifically for situations like, like jamming with a VST plugin or something. Okay, so let's get my camera back to normal. Oh, you might have heard these notifications. You should not be hearing them. Let's make sure you're not getting my horrible notification messages. I probably shouldn't be hearing my horrible notification messages. Okay. So let's do this. Go back here. Yeah, so as I said, this is going to be something I'm working on for in my company, Modalix. It is going to be probably an interesting version of this, or probably even this itself will be free. So it's going to be something that hopefully will be like a good utility that you can just load up whenever you want to, like a combination of a plugin and an effects, or a few effects or a few MIDI plugins. We're gonna talk about this. So I see people are interested. I want to say hi to Music AMG, who's working on a multi-track MIDI editor. That's interesting. I want to say hi to Nathan Morrow as well. Yeah, so feel free to write comments. Let me know what's up. I'm gonna get pretty deep into coding for now. Let's have some boring AI music. Hopefully not so boring, but Okay. So let's see what's going to happen. The first thing I need to do is I need to unload this ivory, just because would love to integrate this with that. So yeah, hopefully you can. All right. So so one of the things I need to do is remove ivory. The reason why I need to remove ivory is, as much as I like that plugin and it sounds great. Oh, wait, why is my audio not shifting? Okay. Is the music too loud? Like the background music? Hope it's not. Okay, so this ivory, as much as it's a good plugin, it's actually not a plugin that plays well with my debugger, because it has iLock, and iLock kind of throws me away from my debugger. So let's pick some other synth. Like let's have Serum. or maybe I'll use something like Keyscape, so I'll have a good piano. Good. Loading Keyscape. Let's get like some maybe a Rhodes sound. Oop. I think my MIDI plugin is still okay. So this is my Rhodes. I'll use that hopefully for testing. Okay, so the first thing I need to find out is I probably worked on it lately, so maybe I screwed a few things in the code, but this should work, and I think it doesn't work, right? This effect thing, right? So yeah, it looks like my audio isn't routed through it, so I need to make sure that it does work. Okay, so this would be our first course of action: make my effects chain do effects, I guess. So let's see what's going on here and how am I processing this. So how am I processing this? Oh, here we go. That's bug one. That's also the problem with MIDI effects. I was processing my the MIDI slots twice. The MIDI slots in my effect slots. That's kind of weird. Okay, so that explains both why MIDI was corrupted and why the state was corrupted. By the way, it's interesting. The VST format doesn't have the concept of a MIDI plugin. So essentially what happens with the MIDI plugin is it's just an instrument really that has MIDI output and no audio. That's really what a MIDI plugin is. Okay, so now let's see if both of these work. So now, oh, here you go. Okay, let's mute the AI music for a second. So let's see what I got here. So first of all, my slot seems to work. Let's get some other effect here. Let's put bit fuzzer. Awesome. So this works. Let's bypass that. Now let's see if I can load an arpeggiator. Okay, look at EONR plays through Keyscape. Here's EONR by the way. Let's do something fun. Let's have a filter here. Let's load something like Polyverse Filterverse. It displays Eon through Keyscape. Good. I like this preset. I think I'll remove Eon for now. Is this gonna work? Yes. So bypass works. That's good. Okay, let's remove Eon for now. Let's see if this is going to save. By the way, I want to remove this and reload. See if it's going to save the state of everything. Yeah, looks pretty good, right? So, and my filter is still saved as it was saved. Instrument still has a Rhodes sample. Good. So this looks pretty good. So I think it does the basics. Okay. think we're okay. Let's go back to some AI generated music. Amazing AI generated music, I should probably say. Okay, so I'm going to commit this fix just because this is like the stupidest fix ever, and live chain. Fixed correct references to the chain, to the FX chain in the processing loop. So that was easy. Okay, so I think I would just start to refactor this, because what I wanted to do is I just started to implement this thing where it processes a chain and not just one. So let's see exactly how I did that. I think I did something that I wasn't super happy about, so I need to reread exactly what I did. Okay, so there's this thing here called a slot, and the slot is like, let's call it the state for each plugin. Oh, I think so. How did this? What slots? Is slots my full chain, or is slots the whole thing? Oh, I think slots is like a single plugin. I don't know if I love this. I think I want to make a concept for chain, basically, so that there's going to be a concept that specifically for the MIDI chain, specifically for the effects chain. And I think I wanted to do it like this because it's possible, or even likely, that, let's say I determine some number of plugins in this chain, like 4, 6, 8. It's possible that we'll change that number. So I think I want to have these chains kind of separate, probably for different coding reasons too. So I need to define better than here. Yeah, better than here. I need to define this thing better. This thing called, so slot is just one plugin. That's okay. Yeah, it's got the plugin, it's got the selection for the plugin, stuff like that. And I think now I need to define the concept of a chain, which was supposed to be this, but I think this. So the problem I had with this, let's call it struct, is that it basically created a chain that had like the processing effect, for example, and the MIDI in the same vector. And that means that if I serialize this, if I save it to a preset and I reload it, it's going to load it in the same order, which I guess makes sense if I would write a generic host, but I want to make sure that that the order of processing is always MIDI plugins, which are instruments, right? And then separately, you know what? Maybe what? Maybe this is okay, because what I could do also. Yeah, you know what I probably can do. I mean, I guess I can mark and say what this is. Like say, hey, this was supposed to be an effects, and then when I load this, I need to make sure that it's I don't know. I kind of need to make sure that things get positioned to the right slot. Like I don't want to get to a place where you save something in the effects box because I now just have one thing in it, and then I'm going to have more slots, and then the instrument is going to move into the MIDI box. I don't like that so much, so I might maybe I can find a nicer solution. Just realized, why am I doing this like this? Why do I not have my microphone like a normal person, like this? Ah, this looks better. Okay. I think what the best way to do this. So either I will create a struct for my that's called like a chain, and that represent a chain of plugins. And then in my plugin, I would have specific chain, because then if I will add slots, it's fine, because whatever, an old preset with 3 slots will load just fine to a new version of the plugin with 5 slots in the same chain. That makes sense. Yeah, and then I think that's probably the correct way to look at this. Okay, so this get past a filter. The other question is, do I want to, like, do I even need this, like a vector of all of those? I guess I could. It's not so bad. But that would mean I still would need. I'm trying to think of like what would be the best way to represent this as a savable state. Yeah, so maybe I'll start with this. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this a chain. This would be, or make this represent a singular chain. And that means that I'm going to change a little bit how I designed it in the first place, which was very, very preliminary. So I'm okay with changing it. Yeah, so what I did here, I had raw pointers to give me the specific styles, but I think I'm not going to do it. I think I'm just going to have 3 in-place chains in here. Yeah, I think that's correct. So basically have something like this thing called the slots. And this would do this, MIDI create. This would do effects create. And this would just be the slot in place of the instrument without this raw pointer. This should be false or something. Okay, and instrument equals, so I don't need this. So this should just be instrument, and this instrument would just be initialized in place with this, because the instrument is singular in this thing. And at least for now, I don't think that's going to change. Yeah, so it creates MIDI, creates the effects with 4 slots. And then when I process them, yeah, so now so I go over MIDI.slots, process this, and then process instrument directly. I don't need to go through this indirection, and then process this dot slots. Okay, this is better. The one thing I need to change is get latency, because now the latency of this graph is actually a combined, because plugins could introduce latency. So I probably need this. I need that plugin to get latency, and this would const, and this would return. So let's start with this, and so it needs to be maybe I'll pull this whole thing in the state. So the state, I always have this thing called a plugin state that's separate from the processor, because first of all, it makes me build a full UI without being that's not connected to the audio process. That doesn't need to build any of the audio process stuff. But also it allows me to later run stuff like tests and stuff like that are kind of it allows me to like multiply the state. For example, like many times I'll take a state, then I just discover I need a list of things in the state. So it makes it reason really well about or have multiple processors share the same state. Also a use case or multiple UIs. So I'm going to do something like get latency. And this needs to add immediate get latency, needs to add the instrument latency, get latency samples, and it needs to add effects dot get latency. And each of those is already written to calculate the full latency of the chain. So now the processor can just do state.getLatency. Good. And I think now I'll have some breakage in the UI, which will hopefully resolve relatively easy. Let's see. I need, there's probably a few other things. Okay, so this is here. This is MIDI. Right now it's just a slot. So the first slot, X slots 0. That's okay. So this is just the way the this thing called a plugin display holder is connected to the slot. Oh, return latency. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. It tries to clone something. So there's a copy. Oh, here we go. This should be like this. This should be like this. And how do I prepare this? Oh, that's not good. No. Oh, this does not need to exist at all. And when now when I serialize, I need to do effects, instrument, and oh, it's MIDI. And it's actually the other way around. So first MIDI, then the instrument, and the effects. Okay, and what else? What else I forget? Oh, let's look at the processor again. Yeah, so now I'm processing just the dumb slots, and I don't think I need to do this. I think I need to yeah, so this needs to be right. State effect slots. Yeah, so now preparing, or all these have to be MIDI, and then instrument. Should be able to do this, right? Just directly do it without calling the plugin. No? No. Problem. Okay, so this needs to be in state instrument prepare. So I need to forward all this information, probably both in the prepare function and in the process function. Here I need to add listeners to all of them. Okay, that makes sense. It's quite wordy, so I probably need to find like a good encapsulation for this that will help me do all these like for loops. Yeah, because you know what? Instead of doing it like this, if my at least for now, when my yeah, because you know what, I can probably do something like, yeah, that's gonna be useful. Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a better abstraction than this here, because this is just like getting annoying, right? So basically, need all these three things, but this is like a, let's call it a nested thing, because this each one of these is a chain of other things, and this is singular. Okay, so I'll do something like I'll write this thing called, let's go to slot here. Yeah, I think that's what I need. I think this needs to be, let's have another file here, because these are more higher level. Let's call this chain, right? This is like that. This is like my entire processing chain. Let's have a namespace for this. Needs to include chain, slot H, and probably include guard would be good. Okay, how's everyone doing, by the way? Hopefully what I'm saying or I'm showing makes some sense. Hopefully pretty soon we will have an effect slot, just for people who have not been here since the beginning. I'm working on a VST host that would be free, probably. At least a version of it would be free. It's going to let you, just something for people to play live with plugins. So you should be able to play your instrument, your MIDI effects, a few of your MIDI effects, a few of your audio effects, chain them together and party. And there's also going to be probably a plugin version of this that will let you do all this like chaining within a single plugin and within your DAW, which has all kinds of technical advantages, which we would probably go to over time. So this would be something like struct chain. And I think this needs these little filters. One of the things I did here before is that I had, you will see pretty soon, but the list of plugins is actually filtered so that you will see correct selection that's suitable. So for example, when you go to load an instrument, you're not going to see effects. You're just going to see instruments. So this is the filter, and there's a filter here for the MIDI effects for now that just filters Modalix plugins. Just because there aren't a lot of MIDI plugins around other than ours, but we might include other people's plugins. Okay, that's good. All this stuff is actually going to go into the constructor of the chain. Yeah, all this serialized stuff is going to go into the chain. Okay. Oops. Why am I not getting... No, probably because I need this in my... So this would just have a chain. For now, this stuff would go into the chain. There's a question here, what's VST? So VST is a plugin, basically a name for just a generic name for a plugin. It's also like not, I'm kind of lying by calling it a VST because there's a few formats. There's AU and AAX, but VST is like the most common one. And the idea is when you load like a music production software like Ableton Live, it's going to load in a second. Here you go. This is Ableton Live 12. And you'll see that all these plugins that it loads, I don't know if you can see it. If I zoom, it's going to work. Yeah. So you see a lot of them says VST, right? Like if I look at the Spectrasonics Keyscape, it says VST, right? So that means it's, it supports this extension format, and I can just go and load this thing into my DAW, right? So there's a lot of these plugins. I just loaded it. It looks like this, shows the piano. Oops, showed a piano and everything. So yeah, so the idea is that with what I'm doing, a lot of people use VST to play instruments. Like there's VST effects and there's VST instruments. And what I thought was it would be cool to do something that helps people play with their pianos and stuff without loading the full DAW, because the full DAW is sometimes requires a lot of setup. Because, for example, a big use case that I've had is I always want to play piano, but I don't like the reverbs that are built on a piano. I like to use FabFilter reverb or Lexicon reverb or something. So I want to immediately have something loaded up so I can just play with a good compressor, good reverb, or good distortion or something like that I like, without the routing that the DAW requires. So yeah, so this was a lot of my reasoning to do this. The other reason was that there's also this thing called MIDI effects, like these arpeggiators that we make. Those are difficult to route in a DAW. So I wanted to do something that helps people do that in an easy way within the DAW, without the DAW, etc. Okay, so what I did was here, sorry, I started to move a lot to this chains tract. And you'll see in a bit why. It's probably because I'm going to add a few things in here that would help this. Okay, that's good. So I think what I did now, after this, I'm going to do a vector of slot. So this would just something that would help me do all the processing operations. So what I would do is slots create. No, let's do this separately. Let's do that. Let's do something like this is going to lead to an interesting technical problem that I'll discuss in a few minutes. But let's ignore this technical problem that I'm about to talk about, which is threading does not exist. Just do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do update list. Update list is a function that's going to be called multiple times and will just refresh this list of slots. So this thing. So the idea is it's going to do slots clear. 402 slot MIDI slots. Slots create. I think slot would be fine here because it's a pointer. And then I need to add slots create instrument, or the address of instrument. And then I need the same thing to do with the effect. So this is just like a way to, yeah, so this would just create a list of a vector of pointers to the lists, and I'm going to call it after construction. I'm probably to call it after serializing as well in case I load another chain. Or maybe I don't know. For now, I'll start by not doing that because I think I just need to make sure that the vectors here are not changing. Which I probably can do, right? I can probably make them so that when they serialize, add slot. So the slot, the slots, the list of slots, it needs to. Oh, here we go. Replace on load. Oh, replace on load false. That's fine. That sounds good. Yeah. So that. I think replace on load clears it, right? Yeah, I need to make sure that it's not cleared. Otherwise, I would need to redo that list whenever I load a preset because serializing might load the things in the vector. Maybe? I need to think about this because if I allow this thing, it's possible that, for example, between versions, I'll need to do this again, and this might create like threading problems, which I need to think about. But I'm just going to start with this. So on the constructor of the chain, I'm calling to update the list, and that means that in my processor, I can simplify a lot of these functions because I can do something like. Just for auto slot state chain slots, right? And then just prepare this. Oh no, what am I doing here? Nothing. I don't. This is construction right here. I need to prepare, so I can just prepare all the plugins because now I have a big list of all the slots. And same in my processing. Although my processing might have some additional. Oh yeah, but the latency that can be done. Yeah, so I think that simplifies things. So I can probably not do this on the slot level. I can just here I can just do this. Auto slot, go through the slots, then latency. Yeah, so this would just be the for loop over these. This is another simplification. For the processing, I might need to do it in place anyway because I have some special handling here, I believe. Oh, but I can actually do this. So I can change this. I can make it another one. It's called MIDI slots or something. And then oh, but then I would need MIDI and non-MIDI. How would I do that? I could mark the chain. Like I could say that one list of slots. Yeah, because really what I want is to discard audio on these slots, right? Yeah, I think it's fine. I think I'll just keep it the way it is because I don't need this in direction for processing. I might need it for other things. I need it to stuff like this. Oh, I realized why this. I need this to add listener. I need to do this, and then I need to yeah, this is to be like add listener. This I think this is what I want. What I need this for. For the processing, it's fine because so this is called chain MIDI slots. And this would be state chain instrument, state chain effects. Okay, I think this is correct. And this would just be chain, state chain get latency. Okay, this is pretty good. Okay, good. Now I had this bugged with my editor. And what I would do probably is plug in display holder. So I'm for my UI as well. I would do something like no, I'm not going to change that for now, just because Or needs to design this somehow. But I can at least do. Redirect all of these to the chain. Good, I think that works. Let's see if nothing crashed in a horrible way. And then next thing would just be to put some boxes on the UI that represents this, like these chains of effects. Good, very good. Okay, so let me just commit this and say something like refactored processing chains into their own objects. Okay, that's good. And now I should be able to yeah, so I should be able now to create something that shows a chain. How does plugin display holder. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. Okay, so it is already encapsulated pretty well, so I shouldn't have a lot of problem to do that. So let's go back to this thing, and right under here I'm going to add a plugin chain. Widget. And this is going to take a DSP chain. The constructor will give it to it. Chain. Initialize that reference. And so what this is there's actually a vector here. Sorry, it's called not a vector, but it's called we call this component list. List of this thing, the holder. Plugins takes this in the constructor, and then when I initialize this, I do oh, and what would be good is I can actually initialize with a name as well. So I'm going to string. Yeah, because it's going to need some title in here. But I guess this could also be done externally. So, yeah. So I just need to go through the. I don't even need to store this. Do I need to store this? Because my chains are not dynamic, so I might not need to store. So I can just do not hold on to this, and then just plugins create slot. I think that's what I need, and then so that resize it horizontally or something. Or let's do vertically. I think it might just look better for now. This should be called create visible. Yeah, and I think this is pretty much it. Right? This is pretty much running for the chain. And then when I here in the editor, I can just give this a chain. This should be a chain.midi. And this should be a chain of chain effects slots. Oh, is that not good? Oh, not. Oh. No, so I don't need the full chain. I just need this to have DSP slots. That's all I need. Right? Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, look at this beautiful chain. Everything looks so well aligned, right? MIDI 1, MIDI 2. Let's see if it works before I'll start messing with the beautiful design that I've done here. All my buttons are cut, everything is chopped. Perfect. And let's can I play something? No, okay, this gets deleted. Makes sense. And then let's have Serum. I have a synth. Let's load an effect. Let's start by modality split fuzzer. This works. Let's see if I load it. Good, that works. Now let's have an effect right after that. So let's have filter Pro R. And have reverb. Let's replace this with Pro R2. Nice, I have a chain. I have a beautiful processing chain of effects. That's good. That is good. So let's just clean up the look of this a little bit so that I can read the buttons or something. Maybe we can start by doing this. I can probably do this horizontally, but let me look again at how this was designed, or he's going to be very mad at me because I'm destroying his beautiful design. But, you know, yeah, because these show like this. Yeah, because I think we need something different for the for something in a chain. I mean, I can do it horizontally. Let's start with that. Let's do. Let's change it to be resize horizontally. Oops, you should not have been seeing this. Yeah, so this is horizontal. That means that I need to probably so I just need to make sure that these buttons are somehow I guess vertical or something, because yeah, so this is going to show yeah, let's have a look. And if you notice, but the empty set shows something like live chainer. I need to fix that as well. Okay, so this is the actual plugin display. Load, bypass, and show hide. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create I'll start by just creating this is going to be an ugly hack, but I'll do it better later. So vertical structure, vertical plugin display, inherit from plugin display. And I'm just going to have a different resize function in this. So I'll grab this and then header type name. And I'm just going to do some manual things here. So it's just going to be something like these and like with the height. The height is 0.2. So these should start with I guess 0.2. And 0.8, right? Sorry. Let's do something like third, right? A third, and then the height would be I don't know, 0.2 or something. So just a scale. And then same with the bypass and the show hide. The only difference is this would be starting in this is, yeah, so this would just start in 0.33, this would start in 0.66. Let's have a look at that. And then when I create these, this would just be a vertical. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, because the problem is there's a thing in the middle called the holder. So the holder needs to know if it creates a plugin display or a plugin display holder. So to simplify things, I would make it template. This isn't the best way to do this, but all this code is probably going to change, so I'm okay with this for now. So this, we have one of vertical, and the one on the editor, it's a singular one. That's going to just be, let's give it a good default or something. equals to plugin display. Just made a template that can support both the vertical and the regular. Ooh, implicit conversion. Oh, this should be a float. Okay, this looks slightly less horrible. Right, so on, load, on off, and then show hide for the actual effect. Okay, doesn't look that great, but you know, you can kind of see what it does. I think the idea is for a lot of these, like we want to give a lot more space to the instrument because there's going to be a nice visualizer we've been working on. I might be putting that in place. So let's fix that. Let's commit this first. Let's do. Let's say that I added chains to editor or something. Good. The one thing I want to do is I think I want to fix this empty plugin name. Yeah, so this is where this gets created. Like the idea is that if there's no plugin in the slot, it basically creates a plugin that does nothing to be in that slot. But I need to fix this. So I need to do something like empty plugin inherits from processor base, and then get name. There's something get name. So it's just going to return none or something. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay. Oh, why do I not see the name of the plugin? That's not good. I think I'm missing something in my my sizes. So let's go back here to the plugin display. Oh, because it's not 0.2. It started, so this would start in 0.4 because the vertically the name the name finished at 40%, not at 20%. I missed that part. Okay, you see now this better. So this shows what's in each slot in the effects chain, right? So here we have serum. Here basically we have none, right? There's nothing here. And this says Bitfuzzer Pro 2. Then nothing, but if I load something in here like waves, CLA, mix-up, stereo, don't crash on me, please. Okay, this is a plugin. I was one of the programmers on this plugin, by the way, Wave plugin that does interesting mixing, and we'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, so this works. I can show it. I should be able to unload it as well. Good, very good. All right, I can see this plugin. Remove this plugin. Oh, that's good. I need to see why. I probably need to fix this. You see that I'm hiding this, and when I re-showed it, the plugin shows up somewhere else. This is a bit annoying. I need to fix it so that it always shows up in the same place. I think I need to save where the plugin is in terms of the XY. Because the plugin itself should retain its size. Like for example, if I'll resize Serum to something smaller, I think Serum should remember its own size, right? Yeah. I think our plugins do that as well, right? Let's have a look. Let's see if I make this smaller. Yeah, so the plugin retains its own size, but it doesn't retain the position, right? It shows in a different position. So I need to, I think, remember that and then show that on screen. Okay, so let's start by committing and saying First of all, I did something like hosting. Created an empty plugin that would correctly report its invalid name. And this is light chainer, fixed dimensions for the vertical display. Okay, this is good. And I should probably be able to go to our little list of things. Like I have like a task list that Or made me, and I think I should be able to say that multiple processing effects, and this is pretty much done. And I can also do that with the MIDI effects. This is finished. All right. Okay, so let's see what's next on my list. Okay, so maybe I'll start with this bug that I just said that it was a fun bug. How's everyone doing, by the way? Do you have any let me know if you have any questions about what it is that I'm doing. If it's all too confusing. Let me know in the comments. Just like some of you know, I'm broadcasting this on multiple channels. I think this goes on my my Twitch, hopefully, my YouTube, LinkedIn. So feel free to let me know. I'm gonna wherever you're watching, let me know what you think in the comments, and I would put things on screen. Here you go, Corybot 24. Hopefully you are not a bot, but this says it's cool. Yeah, like there's some features I'm gonna load in this, so hopefully this will take shape, over the next few days. Yeah, I'm gonna add a few built-in MIDI effects to come with this, like velocity curves probably would be one of those. Basically just bread and butter stuff, so people will have an easy time to just play their instruments. I think this is it's like an important concept, right? To make it so that live playing is generally easy and not painful. It takes a lot of wiring. Okay, so the one thing I wanted to fix that we saw was a problem. We saw that when I did a show hide on a plugin, it did not retain its position. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at how other DAWs do it. But I think it's going to probably work fine in other DAWs. I'm going to open Ableton Live. Let's open what was that? Serum. All right. So here's the Serum window. I'm going to close it and bring it back up. And it went back to the same place. Let's try this position. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So it did come back to the same position, but looks like Ableton did a few things so that it's going to come back inside the window. So when I had it like this, Ableton says, no, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to put it back in fully into the window. But if I had it in this corner, and I close it and bring it up, oh, hey, look at this. It moved me a little bit. So it didn't fully retain the position. Okay, it retained. Is it always going to the bottom? If I put it here. Well, that's interesting. Let's make it smaller so I can get a clear look of what they did. I don't have to do exactly what they did, but it's just a good reference point. Look at this. Every time it comes back somewhere else. It actually sometimes shows up on another place on the screen. So, okay, so there's a great question here. How do you manage potential memory leaks, if there is any? Great question. I would love to answer this question. Yeah, so it's very rare that I would have a memory leak. And the reason why I have very little memory leaks is because 99.999% of my code is RAII. And that means that I have objects that manage memory. So for example, when I'm using this thing called an owned vector, right? This is a vector of, basically, it's using my own pointer, my own smart pointer, but it's using a pointer kind of like a unique pointer that will automatically do that. And most times you will see me just using stack objects, or you'll see me use something like this. It's like a dynamic object or dynamic array, but that has this like self-contained memory management. There are very few cases where I would do something different. Because what it means for me is that when I have like stuff on the stack, like just an example, right? I have this thing called plugin hosting scanning selection. This or this thing, a string, right? The string is a good one, right? The string just automatically manages its own heap memory. When I construct this object, this gets created. When I destruct it, it gets deallocated, right? So it gets allocated when I create it, destroyed when I do this. So that means that when I observe like this thing, I observe this thing called the slots, like some struct with information in it. I don't need to worry that each of these members would leak. Never. Like as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm putting it on the stack of another object, right? Like for example here, slots is on the stack here. I mean this object is a heap object, but as far as the higher level object is concerned, it's on the stack. So when I destroy slots, everything here is going to get recursively deallocated. And I'm usually trying to follow patterns like this. Like there's sometimes I would use like some more complicated patterns. Like there's some, once in a while I'll use what's called reference counting. That means that more than one thing can hold the responsibility, but it would still be scoped within the stack. So if I would use something like a shared pointer and I would pass it to multiple objects, that means that all these objects are going to keep the count and they're going to still be responsible to clear this. So it's very, very unlikely that I would see a memory leak. What could happen sometimes, especially when I do threaded things, is that sometimes my order of destruction will be not so good. Like for example, if I have threads creating things, passing to other threads. But generally speaking, this RAII pattern solves a lot of these memory leaks. And I think it's very important to have a pattern kind of like this. Like I know some old C programmers don't like it, but I think it's very important because it means that your code is going to be generally correct. Like you can see something like this, objects on the stack in a class or something, and you can say, okay, well, this works. I don't have to like think about each of those. Like, I mean, of course, it's possible that owned vector in this case would have a bug and would not free memory correctly. But even if that happens, I can just know that I need to fix a bug with owned vector. Like I don't need to fix a bug with this high level class. So this whatever memory problems are going to happen are only going to be contained in this. And if I look at owned vector is a vector of owning pointer, and vector itself does memory allocation for the it's basically a vector of pointers, so it does memory allocation for the pointers. Well, not for the pointers, but for the array that holds the pointers. And then this thing, owning pointer, this thing that does low-level memory allocation by doing this, right? It holds a raw pointer, and this thing handles, deletion when you do something else, like delete when you call reset, stuff like that. So this handles deallocation and allocation, but no other objects, or almost no other object in my library would do something so low level. So hopefully that object has you covered, basically, or whatever object that the library provides. Hope this makes sense regarding memory allocation. I can probably expand on that if there are questions. By the way, something important to notice is that because I'm loading plugins here, plugins are basically just their own C++ programs, right? Like when I load Serum or something, that is a C++ program, and the plugin itself could leak memory, and basically there's nothing I can do about this. If there's a leak, in a plugin, then basically I'm leaking until you destroy my app. So that is something to notice, generally about dealing with third-party code. Like there's no guarantees in that code. I wonder if when I unload the DLL, it's a good question. If when I unload the DLL, it's releasing its memory, because I think it doesn't. I think if I unload the DLL, whatever memory stays in the process memory that loaded it, it's basically my memory. So I think that if the DLL is leaking, I'm basically stuck with the leakage until it's. Well, I guess you'll write your own plugin. Yeah. So for my plugins don't leak, at least not to my knowledge. But this thing loads anybody's plugins, and it's just random C++ code written in the wild, so that can leak, right? So there is this is something I don't know if I can protect from. I can. Or maybe I can. I don't know. Somebody with more low-level knowledge on loading DLLs, let me know if I can somehow track memory that the DLL, allocated, kind of track mallocs or something, and then observe this. So there's all these ways that I can maybe help the plugin not leak. But I'd rather just say, hey, if you loaded a plugin and you'll see like your memory pool gets completely drained, then call your plugin manufacturer and tell them to fix it. So hello, Caleb. Thank you for joining us. I'm just gonna, before I continue, I'm gonna show a little bit where we are. Before I'll move on to like the next feature or bug or whatever it is I'll decide to do. So what this is, and sorry for the way this looks, this is still in progress, but this is something that's meant to help you play your instruments live in a very simple way. It's currently a standalone app, but it's going to have probably a plugin version, and it's going to be free. So this is a fun feature of this, the free aspect, because there are apps that are paid to do this, and there are I think free apps that do that, but not good ones that I know of that do this exact thing for. And the idea is that it lets you load an instrument. For example, I have Serum here, a synth, right? And after that, it lets you load a chain of audio effects, and before that, it lets you load a chain of MIDI effects. So I can load something like Eon ARP, right? This is Eon ARP, and I can play it. Oh, I think I have Ableton Live in the background playing something else. Okay, so I'm just loading this. And this goes through, let's bypass the fuzzer, right? Let's bypass. Oh. So this is Serum and Eon ARP playing together. And then maybe, in the processing chain, I'm going to load an effect by Polyverse called Filterverse. Show that. So it was just a simple way to for me specifically, I wanted something that I can just, without loading a DAW, within this, have something that lets me do all three things, right? MIDI plugin, instruments, and then a few effects, and then you can store that in a preset. Let's see. By the way, I've not tested that this works, so this will be the first time I'm testing this. Let's hope I'm not crashing. But let's say I'm going to save this as like Serum with ARP or something. So this is and let's go back to the default, the init preset. Let's load something else. Let's load, now, keyscape. Let's do that. Here we go. So it took a second to load the samples. And this would be like a piano sound, right? Good. And there is a reverb here in keyscape, but let's say I don't love this reverb. I want to play another reverb, so I'm going to choose this FabFilter Pro R2. Great. So now I have a preset. I'm going to save this and call it, let's call it keyscape piano. And now the part that I'm not sure is going to work. So let's see if I'm. Hopefully this is going to be not crash. But I switch. Here we go. So when I switched, right, I got the synth preset with Serum. Let's switch. And have a piano, right? So I just made something that loads both of my presets, both with totally different chains. So I could be literally playing live, right? Just be jamming and then switch to my other preset. Get my arpeggiator. Right, open my filter. Okay, maybe I'm bored for this. Let's go back to my piano. Now I have my instrument with my good reverb. So this is pretty good. Like I can, let's put something like SSL EV2 here, like a good channel strip. That will be fun. Let's compress this a little bit. Bit of EQ to reduce the highs. Not that compressed. Have the reverb after that. Okay, very good. So I think this is a pretty good concept. Like I'm already enjoying to play this. I could save. I want to save this to. Let's call it key S2 or something. Yeah. So I have these three presets with the different chains, and these loads pretty well. I can undo this as well, right? Yes, I can undo. This is pretty good. So I'm actually really enjoying. Where I am with this product. Okay, there's a question here. I'm just learning front end, and if you can suggest, I just want to challenge myself. Then how can I get challenges? That's a great question. I think there are. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I think there are online challenges for the specific framework or language that you're learning. Usually. People, when they say front end, they'll do something like React, like JavaScript React. If that's what you're doing, I think there's a lot of things you can do to basically, do something that's kind of like a known pattern. Like say, hey, create. One of the things people like to do is like a to-do list. But then people can do something like, hey, create a website that has some like interaction. Something like maybe something that where you drag and drop something from one side to another, or maybe something where you do a store. I think a lot of people like to do a store, like when you supposedly buy stuff. But there's like more creative things I guess you can do. Like you can do something that where people, especially by the way, if you know how to use a database, just read and write to a database, you can sometimes do really cool stuff. Like for example, have people draw something on the screen and then have it show up on the other on another computer or another tab on the browser. That's fun to do, and then people can kind of share their drawings, stuff like that. Yeah, so there's a good suggestion here. Probably try to build a dummy e-commerce website. Yeah, and I can tell you that that's one of the things that's, I guess, good for a job making opportunity, because a lot of the time when people hire you to do be a front end person, they actually want you to do like store related things. So I think it makes sense for a portfolio as well to do e-commerce. So that's a good tip. Okay, so I'm thinking. What do I do? Do I yeah? So maybe I'll take I'll keep the stream up. I'll take like a 5-minute break just to I don't know, not sit down, and I will come back and we can do something. Oh, so there's a question. You make VST, cool. You have chiptunes VSTs. What's a chiptune VST? Okay, I'm gonna look this up. Chiptune. Oh, so like 8-bit stuff. That's fun. I don't. You know what? It's funny. I don't have like a plain. Let's call it a plain VST that does like an instrument that has the built-in 8-bit. But so first of all, we can probably, it's going to be fun because I can show you this to you live now with the things that I've been making. So let's go to my coding window. Yeah, so first of all, we are making VSTs. I have a plugin company called Modalix. You should check out our plugins. Like some of them are stuff like arpeggiators. Some of them are drum machines. Like for example, here's one of our plugins called Eon Arp. It's a really cool arpeggiator. It's really cool. It's got some 8-bit vibe to the design in this case that my partner Orl Bianiker did. Yeah, so talk about chiptune stuff. So I'm going to load a plugin. I'm going to load Serum here, and I want to show you. So I just have Serum playing right now. Okay, great. And over that thing, we have our plugin called Bitfuzzer, and Bitfuzzer is a bit crusher that can actually help you sound a little bit like chiptune. Depends on the settings you're using, right? So this is without it, and with it. So you can actually use this to make all kinds of sounds that are a little bit with less, let's call it less bits to them. And with other sounds, like let's say instead of the synth, I'm going to load something like I don't have many instruments here, but I'm going to load what I loaded before, Keyscape, which is a piano sound. Keyscape takes a couple of seconds to load the samples. Let's pick a piano, straight up piano. So this is the piano. Just want to make sure there's no. Yeah, I think it's okay. And then load this on. the piano. So it's not an actual chip tunes, but it will let you chip tunize a few things. I can make this higher oversampling to get slightly higher quality here. Really helps to get some video game like sounds. Okay, so the other question is, do you do this professionally, or do you just code for fun, hobby learning? Yeah, I do this professionally. We have our company Modalix that we sell plugins. You can go on our website and buy those. In the past, I've created plugins for many other companies like Waves, Xfer, Pitch Innovations, WA Productions, Deadmau5. I made a plugin with Deadmau5. I made a plugin with there's one other plugin I worked on. Anyway, yeah, so I made plugins for a few different people. Oh, Polyverse. I worked on the Gatekeeper plugin. So I'm doing this professionally, and you can get a lot of my plugins. There's a few on the Waves website, a few of them on the Modalix website. Like you can get those and use them if you would like. Okay, so let's bring back so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some AI music. Okay, the question is, thanks. I'm a beginner in music, by the way. I'm searching for chiptune as a VST because I'm not good with mixing. Yeah, and I think that you should be searching for stuff like that. This plugin I've just shown, Bitfuzzer, that for a little while it used to be free, but it's not free anymore. However, it's pretty cheap, so you can try that. But I definitely suggest to try. First of all, try all kinds of bit crusher plugins. That really helps to make things video game like. And there's a few synth already that give you like 8-bit sounding synthesizers. Some of them are free. Okay, I am going to take a few minute break, and I'll come back very shortly. All right, I'm back. As I said, working on this VST host. Yeah, so let me decide what I'm going to do right now. Let's have a look. I have a task list that Or made me with a few tasks. Let's have a look at what this says. Okay, there's all these MIDI plugins. Yeah, and essentially those are basically almost like their own, almost like individual plugins. Like one of them is, yeah, transpose, velocity curve. Like those are basically just their own different. I probably need to think about them as plugins as well, right? Yeah, the curve. The curve thing, I even kind of know what it's going to look like. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at what I'm going to do. So let's do. This is going to be fun. So let's do a velocity curve plugin, and I actually have. Fortunately, the complicated part, which is the UI, I probably can just reuse an existing code that I have. So we have this other plugin we've been working on that has never been released. It probably should be released. It's a good thing, but it might maybe a lot of it will be integrated with this product. Yeah, so I want to build this thing called MIDI Remod. And it's also one of these. It's also one of these meta plugins. I just want to say that I'm doing this, so I'm doing velocity curve. Okay. Probably we can say this. Say they've done this. Okay, good. Making progress. So what I want to do. Yeah, okay. So here's this plugin. It's also something that loads other plugins that lets you do like these kind of like beautiful curves. And I think this velocity curves plugin I'm going to do is basically going to look exactly like this, just for velocity, just for nothing else, just for yeah, I think just a velocity curve for this would work pretty well. The idea is that you can add your own like little dots here and create these abstract curves if you wanted to. Like you can even make a curve like this, which would basically mean that you play harder. It's gonna sound louder, but then you keep playing harder and it's actually going to sound softer. Like this would actually be a non-linear curve, which you could find a use for. Like for example, you could find, I don't know if this would be useful, but this would be useful. For example, like say you're going to let like basically kind of have some compression happening right at the end. There's all these custom curves here as well. So yeah, this should work. The only thing I'm not sure about is how to actually build this. Like, do I make this a plugin? Because it would probably be a pretty useful plugin, but yeah, let's just make this a plugin. Let's make this its own plugin. So I'll actually make a plugin project. Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do. I think what I'll do is I'll make this a plugin project that's kind of built as a part of, like the actual code is going to be a part of this project for now, at least. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then I will have a plugin project that kind of spawns the code from that module. Yeah, so what I can do for now, I can just kind of abuse this code. So I can just say that the chainer state is going to have, let's call it plugins, and it's going to have you know, a plugin called something like let's call it velocity curves. Curve, just one curve. Okay, so velocity curve. Let's add the code there. So include plugins velocity curve.cpp. And then I need a processing unit for it. I don't need, yeah, I probably do need a UI just even straight off the top, because without a UI this curve thing kind of makes no sense. Yeah, so let's call this plugins. Kind of confusing. Okay, so this is something like namespace. Let's do, let's have this, and then include oh wait, this can include the state. This is the state. Yay, plugin utils. This needs to load the state. So the basics is, and I can just copy this from here. The basics is there needs to be a state class. The parameters, that's probably not even needed in this case, because there might not be even automation parameters. So we'll consider this in a bit, but that would mean that I can just say Oh, this is commercial plugins. I need this to be commercial plugins. Any of the stuff. Yeah, so it just needs an empty plugin state, and the processor side needs to have, let's steal this from here, this thing. So this just needs to be a processor. The base class should take care of everything in this case. And then, so let's have a look at what I did in the remod thing. There is mediator state. Graph points. I think this is basically the state. So I need something like include. Where's the graph coming from? Which model is that? Huh? No, come on. Oh, there it is. So it is on, it's just called EA graph. That's right. Okay. So there's a module called EA graph. I probably just need to link it. That's how my autocomplete is going to know that it's a thing. So in here, I need to say that it requires EA graph. Good. Let's have it reload. Good. So now I have the graph. Realize this. So graph that's basically it. And then I need to in my audio, I think I have something like a broadcaster here, right? Yeah. So I think what I need to do, so the processor needs something that I call I think it's something like GUI to real-time of type graph points. It's like FIFO. This thing needs to be have a listener to the state.graph FIFO.push. What did you initialize this with something? I forget. No, not yet. So I can just do this push graph. Yeah. So this is so that I will have a lock-free connection with this. So that means that whenever the user would change things in the UI, there won't be any locks or something to protect this state. So this will be a listener. Good. And I think now to process this, all I need to do. Oh, you know what? I think I don't need this thing. I need. I think I need something. Wait, I think I used to use something that gives me, kind of flattens this, right? So I think instead of using this, I have a flattened version of this graph. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's a thing called path points. Yes, this is what I need, path points. So not graph points. I need path points. Then let's do a better update function. So update. What update is going to do is it's going to do something like state graph path points. Can I just construct it with this? No, I just need to this, and then how did I use this before? It's probably a better way that I've already done this. So path points, because I've used this on a few of our previous products. Oh, here we go. Segment helpers create path points. Okay. Create path points from state graph. And how many points? I think it's like I should probably just go with 128 points. But just for fun, let's give it a bit more. Just get a slightly higher resolution. Not that it matters all that much. I can just probably work with 512. And then I can just go to my FIFO and push this going to auto points equals this, and then push points. Yeah, and this will create like a flattened segment that will take in consideration the curves and stuff like that. And that means that when I in real time, I don't need to do things like calculate the curves. I can just linearly search this flattened path. Good. And really what it's going to do, this is going to be so simple. Like the actual, this is going to be one of the, in terms of like the processing side, the UI might be more complicated. So I can just do process. And all this needs to do, like this, all this plugin needs to do is to go through the MIDI messages and kind of change them. So this would need something like MIDI temp buffer, temp buffer. So it needs to work with a temporary buffer. We're going to start by clearing it. Then for O2 MIDI, if let's do O2 message, get message. If message is note on or off, then I would need to do before that, let me grab the graph equals FIFO.pull, sorry, get real time. So this gives me a safe to use basically reference that's going to be safe and not contended with the UI thread. So I should be able now to do the equals message get float velocity, and all I need to do, this gives me a velocity between 0 to 1. So now I should just apply the curve. So graph so velocity equals to, or I can just do O2 new vel equals graph get y off velocity. So this is my curved velocity. Let's call it curved. And then I should do message dot set velocity curved. And then I can temp buffer add message add event m dot I can just do message and m dot sample position. So I'm just going to use the same events before. If it's note on and off, I should just add this thing into the message as is, because I've never changed anything. Oh, so what I could do is I don't even need, I could just put this outside of the if statement. Yeah, so just do this. So modify the message, and otherwise just push it in the buffer. Then when we're finished, I'm going to replace temp buffer. I'm going to replace the MIDI buffer with the temp buffer. Good. Let me move these functions into the CVP file. All this is exposed in the header, so this gives me a nicer interface. Update and process. This I mean, I need to search for a bug, but this should be pretty much this entire plugin in terms of like the processing. And now I just need to add a bit of UI into this. So the UI. So let's have another folder here called plugins. There's going to be a few more plugins happening here. So plugins, and then let's call this velocity curve. And I think this also needs something called that I'm using here. I'm using the other plugin, graph display. How's everyone doing, by the way? Hopefully, I don't know if you just joined or you've seen me before, but I'm making a VST host app. Loads plugin, and this app has a few plugins installed, so I'm literally writing a plugin that hopefully the prototype version of it, which should be pretty good, would be finished in a few minutes. So this is a velocity curve plugin with a graphical velocity curve. Fortunately, I've already written a lot of the actual graphical curve stuff, so hopefully it's just going to work as is. So I don't need to redo that. Yeah, so plugins, velocity curve. I need to add this to the build. Plugins, velocity curve. This should include this thing called a graph display. This is a module that has this like object that you've seen in some of our other plugins, like Mindset Drums. It has a velocity curve and or a pedal curve or something. So this would be something like EA graph display. EA GUI plugins. Let's call it velocity curve. Velocity curve. This should be like something like a struct. This is just the editor of this basically. Inherits from oh, made a mistake here. This should be, oh, this is fine. Yeah, commercial plugin state. This is commercial plugins. So we have these basics for all our commercial plugins editors, and this should have something like using DSP or namespace DSP equals audio plugins velocity curve. This means I can just take a DSP state to use. Initialize a base class. And also I want to have a store reference to the states. Good. And then I should be able to just have something called graph display. Okay. And something like actual make visible graph. Scale to fit graph. Should be pretty simple. And then once I'm finished with this, I need to yeah, so I just need to make it a plugin project. So let's call this velocity curve. And the interesting thing is my plugin projects are actually interesting because a lot of them have almost nothing. You'll see that pretty soon. A lot of my plugin projects is just like a settings CMake file. This thing can be simpler, does not need a plugin host. But you know what, I'll just, yeah, the plugin host does not need to be plugin host AU. Let's give it plugin code like VL curve, velocity curve. Synth input output, that's good. Target name is velocity curve. Velocity curve is the name. So it's basically just one file along with sometimes a few graphical resources, and everything else just comes from the module. In this case, I might not even need to, I can just link with the resources of Live Chainer, I think, for now. Maybe I don't even need this. Maybe I don't even need these resources. Let's have a look first. So let's start without this. Title bar, cross F. Okay, okay. Let's add this to my build. So set build velocity curve true. Velocity curve does need to. Oh no, it's actually fine. It's linking with the same modules, really. So I don't need this binary data for now. And I need velocity curve. Okay. Let's see if this works or if I forgot something. I probably forgot something to make this just work. And this is going to be, you'll see pretty soon, a velocity curve plugin with hopefully functional, like a graphical editor for these curves of the velocity. And once this works, this should also load just as a plugin inside of the chainer. I forgot something. Okay. Oh, that's right. Oh, I see what happens here. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to call it, surprisingly. I'm going to have to call this a host because otherwise it's not going to compile. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to use this little thing, this plugin selection here. just this. I think I just need to have declared as a even though it's not going to be a host. This will not compile without it because the module requires this because I'm sharing the same module with the main plugin. Okay, oh, there's a warning here. Oh, just because I'm not doing anything with this. Assertion, that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, because I did add, and this needs to be a child because it's a complex object. So I've had different functions for these. That makes sense. Okay, so here's my beautiful graph. That's what it looks like. It's kind of, it needs a color scheme or something, but I should be able to do these different points. I should be able to change the curve. So yeah, so it generally works. Needs some designing. Looks like it works pretty well. Let's now test it. So I'm going to build the VST 3 version of this. And we're gonna see if what I did just worked. So, oh, I didn't load live chainer. I need to load the VST 3 version of the curve. Meanwhile, I can just commit this. I can just say that added velocity curve plugin. Okay, let's load. I need velocity curve VST3. This shouldn't take that long because most of this was already built. And then, moment of truth. I'm going to take live chainer standalone. I'm going to load my live VST host. Okay, now here we go. So first of all, let's have a cleaner thing. Let's just remove. Okay, so I have my piano. It's playing. Now let's rescan plugins. Could be a good chance to see if my plugin scanning works. One of the things we're doing here that's interesting is multi-process scanning, which means that first if a plugin crashes during scanning, this is not going to crash. So it's interesting. Also, it adds some speed to this. Because sometimes, because this was just a full rescan for everything, still it was relatively quick. So here we go, and velocity curve is right here. Here's a beautiful UI for this. Ooh, what just happened? Oh, I just jumped the window. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this works. This is the regular curve. Now let's lower it. Ooh. Does not look like it worked. Let's see why. I'll keep this preset in here, and I'm gonna debug this. Let's see what I forgot. Velocity curve VST3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I want to debug this, but I want to debug this inside of my chainer. No, it's not going to let me search. Come on, be nice to me. I'm so nice to you. Oh, live chainer standalone. Okay, that's it. So it's going to debug this inside of my own host. So I need to make sure, I need to see two things. I need to see that this is called, this update, and I need to see that process is doing the right thing. Okay, we're on, plugin is on. So whenever I change something, this needs to be called, and it isn't called. That explains why this doesn't work. Have I not listened to the right thing? State graph. Oh, maybe I need to have like what's called an update container here. No? Yeah, probably. Okay, so that's probably what needs to happen. So I think my UI, I think I intentionally did this. I think my UI needs to have I think it's already an update container, right? Update, yeah, so I think I just need to implement an update function here. And I believe this would be called, I can test this in the standalone as well, so that will be good. Standalone. All this needs to do is say, I can probably just do something like state graph trigger update link. Because I think the processor should pick up this message and then update when the user just did something in the UI. This is by the way the part that should be called right now. Okay, now let's touch something. Good, it's called. Perfect. The one thing I'll do just for slightly extra performance is that I might do something like events limited rate. Something. Let's use like funk equals this, and then rate call funk. And this is just to make sure that if the user is kind of moving things super fast, I don't need to hammer the processor with millions of update. I can limit those to just a few per second and not a million per second. This should make the UI a bit snappy as well. Okay. Ooh. Oh, okay. There's a little bug here that needs to be fixed, but that's fine. So now let's load the VST3. And it's gonna load my my host as well. Let's see if we have ourselves a velocity curve plugin that does what it should do. You ready for this? Okay. Ooh. That's weird. I'm catching this and things get... Oh. Looks like something is modifying itself here. Yeah, it looks like this. Whatever I've done is not the right thing, so... Why is that? Did I do something weird when I'm calling the update function? I saw it in the standalone as well. Something was erasing it or... UI plugins. No. Oh. Wait. Path points. That's weird. Source. Am I doing something modify? Oh, I see what I did there. Okay, okay. That's fine. So what's wrong with what I did there? All right, I'm going to debug this, but I think I'm going to take a food break. So I'm going to stop the stream right now, and we're going to continue a bit later with another stream. Thank you all for watching.